What's going on, legends? Finally, here we go with the Ultimate Thorns Payback build. As some of you have seen the planner or me on the stream, everyday blast with this, ask for this build. Here we go. Today I will show you what I cooked. And I believe this build would be #1 if it wasn't for all the bugs that other builds are using. Every new meta is discovered every day, and using many bugs. The other builds doing up to quadrillion damage now. It's pretty ridiculous. But this is full Thorns Payback. Now, funny thing, there is this new chest piece that gives you stealth. It's called Shroud of False Death. And for a full Thorns build, you would think a Razor Blade would be the top choice, right? No, it's not. This chest piece is actually doing much more damage. And I may have or may not have salvaged a 4 GA Razor Blade, full, perfect roll. But that's besides the point. Doesn't matter anyway. Razor Blade is old news. False Death is the main thing here. It gives +1 to all passives. The main passive we're focusing on are actually resilient. That's why I have it tempered on 2 of my pieces. Gives you max HP if you cast Gorilla skill, which we use non-stop. Because we use mainly O power from the rune. And O power scales the best with Alive and then Fortify. That's what we have right here for Fortify. As you can see on my HP bar. Which is pretty good source of that. And also Furnace. Furnace gives you crit damage for Jaguar for each Ferocity stack when using Jaguar skills. And you may wonder, why am I saying it? How does that work on this build since we use Gorilla skills? Well, if you use Ravager, it's a buff on yourself, like an aura, if you will. And all the skills are basically Jaguar skills. So passives like Potent, that gives you, increased damage to enemies. And then also like Furnace, they will both be active. And with this similar situation, we could also make use of Mystic Circles for Jaguar. But sadly, I have no space for that on the gear because we are rocking Starless Sky as well. I will talk about it more in details later. There is a way to make it use of it, but we would have to drop Vulnerable for this build. But Vulnerable is free damage. And for the potion, in this footage, I used attack speed. The faster you attack, the more you spend resource and the more you proc the Opal rune. That's what I have it linked with the Opal rune, spending resource, sorry. So we're trying to get as much attack speed as possible. Now for us, these stacks are cap #2 for attack speed. There are 2 caps. So this build is 140% attack speed, I believe. Something like that. If I had better rolls on Masterworkings, it would be 150 plus. But this build, this gear is by far from good. Getting items, I think, is very hard this season. Not only it's super expensive, even for one Greater Graphics items, people ask for billions. It's ridiculous. But also the since they removed the drops, legendaries from bosses, they only drop uniques. It's pretty hard to get these, GAs. And of course, tributes for Undercity would be the best, but those are pretty hard to come by from memory dungeons, so that's pretty unlucky. But this run took like 7 minutes in 115 pit, which I think is pretty decent. And I haven't really ran pit that much. I haven't really practiced like pack pulling and stuff like that. So also, as you can see, I have these vampires that teleport away, so that's very unlucky on this layout. This pit overall is my favorite because you can do the whole bar until the boss room in this one floor. But I was just unlucky with these map picks because, yeah, vampires are the worst if you're melee. Well, overall. We're using right here for, once again, the armor increase, so we have easier time getting the items and whatnot. And also we have Crater that pulls mobs as well. On the second one, we got Variana, and she gives us attack speed with Bloodthirst every 22 seconds, I believe. And her Bloodthirst, I'm not sure if it's cap #1 or 2, but doesn't matter because we are not even capped with the first attack speed cap. So the reason why or if your question is about resources, why am I able to keep up with the resources non-stop? Because Payback uses all the resources as well as Kapaleke. And this is the ring called Midnight Sun. For the last 2 seconds, if you crit strike, you will get 50% vigor refunded. So with high attack speed, with every payback, you will get full resources, full cap. So we'll get full utility or like full usage of Kapaleke, the full bonus, and also Payback has a passive that gives you damage increase for each like half or like 1 point of vigor. I think you have 0.5% damage increase. So Payback is double scaling here with max resource. That's why we, this build is just crazy good. Considering it's Thorns, which is by far the worst, I would say, from all like main halls and whatnot. My highest hit, I'm not sure if it already was in the footage. It's hard to keep, it's It's hard to keep track of these things, of these numbers, so I couldn't find a word. My highest was 1.4 billion, I believe, on these map packs. On bosses early on, it's like half a trillion, sorry, 1.4 trillion, not billion. But as you can see on these bosses, I hit about for half a trillion here and there. And once these mob or like mobs, when they get below injured, which is 35% HP increase or 35% HP, you will literally delete, almost execute all the mobs because you will get hunters 300% damage increase to injure enemies. I think it's 300. You will see it in a second or in a minute when I lower him down until this injured. You want to spam a Vortex as well on the bosses because that adds to the stagger bar, and then you can just, you know, stagger them like this, or you will also increase damage because you will get proc dominant passive that gives you damage increase to knock down enemies. And when boss is, you know, blue bar like that, all the CC damage is active and proc. Today I will show on a pit as a showcase. I think it's the best. There you could see half a trillion, 554 billion, which is pretty, you know, it's not too bad. That's not too bad. Now, when I talked about not using bugs, obviously there's Viscous Shield and there is Colossus stacks, but we don't temper for max resolve stacks. And Viscous Shield is double dipping, but even if they fixed it, we will still use it. It will still give us damage increase, so not too shabby. 823 billion right there. And yeah, or the chest piece, the mythic chest piece increases your damage overall, not only for the big burst, whatever, but you will also deal damage outside of these overpowers, pretty decent ones as well. And now his HP bar just gets deleted because yeah, you just get that was over a trillion crit right there. Just couldn't see it. Yeah, this was about, yeah, we still have like 6 minutes and 10 seconds left, so I believe this build can go much further. And also my glyphs are level 90. I'm not even maxed out, man. I'm still missing 10 levels on each, as you can see right here. I just go through each of them, so there's still a lot to, you know, to gain, a lot to gain. But anyways, let's go into build planner. Let's see what we got, what we're working with. So I do all my builds on Mobilitics, and this planner will be in the pinned comment section, so don't you worry, I'll have it all for you. So first things, just the skill overview. Ravager, this gives us more damage basically, and also you need to have this active to deal real damage. I will show you why. You will also gain vigor from having Ravager active, so that's what you need active at all times. But that's no problem because our cooldown reduction with the key passive is insane. Main ability Payback. We are using the aspect for Payback that echoes forward, and skills from Thorns. If you have also another thing, I do not have max rolled aspects, and aspects are insane damage increase, especially this force and this interdiction. These two having max rolls, I'm pretty sure you would be seeing trillion hits with this build with max aspects, just this right here, much more often. But aspects are impossible to get or super expensive. Vortex to group mobs together. Armored High, this gives us full resolve stacks, but you will also get increased Thorns, and we scale from Thorns, so that's active damage. That's why we temper it 3 times on the gear. Hunter for gap close, or, you know, just get full stacks of ferocity for attack speed. Toxic skin to proc poison on the enemies, but also to get increased Thorns by 100% damage into poison enemies, so that's the setup. Double Gorilla. We use Loyalty. Now, the great thing about Loyalty, anything that says vigor cost reduction, so both for this headpiece is 60%, and this ring is another 50%, it's 110%. This scales as damage with Kepeleke, which is interesting, and it's intended, so that's very nice. So try to get it as a, if you don't have legendary or unique, try to get it as the legendary ring and get the affix resource cost reduction. It's very good. I can only recommend it. It scales very well with that Kepeleke. So counterattack, you will see in the skill tree, but counterattack is procced by the Midnight Sun here, and it's also intended. You don't even need to have it on the bar. It's just extra skill on the side, you know, hidden, but active. Anyways, the skill tree 2 points, doesn't matter where. This build is also very easy to transition into from my 2 builds that I have on YouTube, both Rock Spirit Thorns and Drake Thorns. So yeah, we go for balanced exertion here for more damage for the core skills. Now, the only thing that doesn't scale with Thorns Gorilla Hall is ranks into the skill right itself. So that's why we have only 1 point in Payback. But stuff like core skill damage increase and all that, that does work because Payback has 3 tags. It has Potency as default, core skill and basic skill because of Kapelaka. And sorry, core skill because of Poised Payback, which is very nice. Next up, you get Vortex for the pull mobs, and also you will knock them down if you have Barrier active, which we have non-stop. And since it scales from Thorns, Vortex doesn't do that bad damage, to be honest. In like Hordes, for example, pretty good. And also, activating Knockdown will trigger a dominant passive that gives us damage increase to knock down enemies, and you will have a chance to execute them. Very good. Next up, Apex, increase vulnerable damage to elites and whatnot. Very good as well. This is, doubled, which is crazy. Toxic Skin, mainly for the passive here that increases Thorns damage deal to poison enemies by 100%. Insane. Now, Ravager, this is the duration, so if you're in Horde, you can just pop it at the beginning and don't touch it until boss room. It will stay up non-stop. This is the main thing that allows this build to deal a lot of damage and just overall the vigor generation. That's what we need, and the dash, right? You'll be super snappy, super zoomy, so yeah, the AoE clear and all that is very nice. Next up, we go with Unrestrained Power for damage since you are non-stop unstoppable. And onto this tree, we got Armored Hind. This will give us the active Thorns, which is main damage and resolve. And also you will get them a block damage reduction. Our block is 100%, so this is very good. More damage reduction per stack of resolve. We have 12 stacks, so the DR here is very nice. Here I just put 1 point just to activate them. So here I just activate the block chance 10%. Here for the barrier up to 10%. Not too bad either on boss fights. Very good actually. Even though we have like the bulwark from Druid, this still comes in handy. Bastion, this is just for the Thorns 20% damage increase while barrier is active. The flat Thorns it gives is pretty weak. I don't really like that. It's not that high. Scales off in high level endgame. Anti-venom for the resistances. I put 1 point. Actually, on my setup, I need 2 points. Like all the masterworks for resistances and like these passives, it all depends on your gear, what you have access to. Because you can sacrifice some points somewhere, like here or here, to get them into poison and whatnot. Up to you. Counter attack once again, passively giving dodge. We have a glyph that scales thorns from dodge, so it just goes hand in hand even more with this build using the hubris glyph. So passively getting 10% dodge means Thorns damage means main damage. So we don't use this skill, this is passively just passive there from the ring, and you will get a crit damage increase for each close enemy. This scales so high because it's a multiplicative and it's insane. Next up, Payback main ability. Each time an enemy attacks you, the damage they take from you is increased up to 100%, which is crazy on the bosses. That's why at the end from Bramble, you just get deleted, right? Hitting for all trillion. Poised Payback, making it core skill. So this skill has 3 tags once again. And consuming all vigor will increase its damage by 0.5% for each point spent. So stacking max resource is also very good, like Masterworks on the weapon. Vehemence, amazing passive, 30% damage X increase on the Payback is absolutely wild. Another way to increase this skill is through follow through, but I don't have enough points in it. This will be 6% damage increase. I don't have enough points for it. All the passives here are so good. And the main star here, so we got Resilient here for max HP increase, casting Gorilla skill. And here, obviously, damage to knock down enemies. So the more HP you get, I recommend getting all items with Greater Affix Life on the legendaries you have. I don't have that. I'm missing 3 items for this, so it's crazy. Potent, these 2 are my favorite passives. So for these, you need to have Ravager active. That's where the main damage comes from. Actually, with this build, that's why you need Ravager up. So this goes up to 30% multi on the targets. That it will deal more damage. And Furnace gives you crit damage per each stack. Frosty also another multi. That's why the damage just flies so high. So I recommend this passive on the Amulet. But if you get Potent instead of Furnace on the Amulet first, you can just roll with it. I would love to get both with max life, but you need dexterity percentage on Amulet to trigger Paragon nodes. And another one here, Resolution, extra damage increase after casting ultimate skill. That's why I use it regularly for 3 seconds. It is doubled on the bosses. So, if you were fighting one enemy, which is boss, so 30%. Max Vigor increase by 30. Get this, very good. And Supremacy, another damage increase up to 30%, which is, that's 60% right here after casting Hunter on the boss. Crazy. Hunter, amazing ability. You can jump from one corner to another within a blink of an eye. And it gives you extra damage by 100%, excuse me, it was 100% damage increase to injured, not 300%. And it gives you a full ferocity stacks, 12 of the 12 stacks, no problem. And you also have a 40% chance to reduce the reset the cooldown on this ability. It's like, I don't know what to say here. Prodigious tempo, this is making it so every 3 payback casts you will get both skill ranks, which doesn't matter for the skill, but it does matter for Armored Hide and Toxic Skin, because with each point in it, it increases the duration of these two, so very good. And it lowers the cooldowns, which is why our cooldowns are up non-stop. This is wild. Just wild. Alright, over the Paragon, and then we go to gear. So first board, over here, I put fitness. We have 2 crit damage glyphs in the first 2 boards because the dexterity nodes are through the roof. Legendary bonus at level 46 increases crit damage bonus, also another multi. This will also, every crit will generate 3 vigor, so, you know, crit is not that bad. It's not bad to get it even as greater FX on the Starless guys, so I really recommend this. So we have this bad boy. Next up, we got Spitty Skin for more thorns when you use a cooldown by 20%. The glyph here, we go Spirit, is the second crit damage. This one is the most dexterity nodes, that's why we put Spirit, because this one gives you more crit damage per 5 dex. Increased damage to elites, also pretty good, and the enemies take increased damage by up to 15% every time you crit strike. Get all these rare nodes, like all the boards, most of the boards Spiritborn has, the rare nodes here, or magic nodes, are absolutely insane. Now you will see 5% thorns here, but this is actually a flat value, not percentage. And the flat value is not too high, it's like 15 per node. But I mean, it's not too bad, right? Now all these resistances and armor nodes, you will not need all of them. I just put them all because you know, there's a lot of points. This allows for 300 Paragon levels, so adjust this accordingly to your gear, because on my build I don't need all of these. I just picked these 2, so it's really up to you. But people ask for a full Paragon board, so here we go. Next board, we go with Viscous Shield. This one is bugged right now, where it double dips, gives you more damage than intended, so this will be fixed. But even if it's fixed, it will still increase our damage, so investing in barrier is not bad at all. The glyph here we use is Revenge. This buffs the rare nodes, so I went because of, I put the Revenge here because of the crit damage increase, and also barrier damage. Damage while barrier, we have barrier non-stop, so good stuff. Now this one requires a lot of dexterity. It is not 1800 like this website says. I believe it's 1670. So that's why we need percentage dexterity on the amulet. Up top, barrier generation, very important as well. And crit damage, good cluster. Lucky here is also pretty good because we will be able to proc the vulnerable on the gloves. We have the affix more often. On the next up, we go with the Infighter. I had this note on my build before, but it's when you dodge or block an attack, you'll get attack speed damage increase. This doesn't really, I want to say you cannot really have good uptime with this, because if you use the Vortex, mobs are knocked down, they will not hit you, so you will not be able to block or dodge. So that's extra points saved, so it's not too bad. But we definitely want to get all the HP nodes as possible, because this scales the overpower we use, main damage. Colossal in this board, it is a lot of strength nodes. I'm not sure if I missed any, but I don't think I did. So that's why we put it here. Now there's another tech where you temper max resolve stacks on the gear, and it gives you extra damage because of this glyph. That is also unintended, but we don't use it here. I tried to go as legit as possible with this setup, because when things get nerfed, you guys know what to go for, where to turn to. Now on the last board, that's my favorite. If you're leveling, try to get this board first, because this node right here will give you 15% vigor if you cast 3 skills in the same spirit in a row, which we do with payback. So try to get this ASAP. It gives you the 30% damage increase, and also it gives you a max resource. This is the max resource we really want for the build, and also attack speed, another great thing here. And this is my favorite board, yeah. And the glyph we go with is a Hubris. This will scale the thorns from dodge bonus. And this will buff the magic nodes. This is better than the Managerist. Managerist does not have as a high bonus to all magic nodes like Hubris. And we will essentially buff the max resource. That's what we are after here, right? Buffing the max resource here. And also, this requires strength to activate. So you will see extra strength nodes here. That's because the glyph on the website is level 1. But once you get high level glyph, you just need only 1 point in strength, and that's it. Only 1 point in strength to activate this. That's all. So you can save the points in here, these 2. 3 actually. So that's pretty cool. So that was the Paragon setup. On the gear setup, we got Loyal to the Mantle. Tried to get damage reduction GA, that's what I got. I did not have a triple masterwork. I tried to put the perfect masterworks in here. And honestly, it really depends on your gear. So this will give us the cost reduction, which is damage because of Kapaleka. And cooldown reduction, this goes for Armored Hide. So with this one, we have non-stop uptime with the Prodigy on one of the main abilities, I would say, for this gear, for this build. So we go with that. Shroud of False Death, the new chest piece. Resource generation is not bad at all. Tried to get max life GA. I crafted 2 pieces and then I crafted random cash. Finally got this. Damage on the next attack after entering stealth, pretty useless, nothing too crazy. All stats, very important to trigger those Paragon nodes. I will try to see if I can get more all stats, maybe with GA on this headpiece. So we could essentially drop the dexterity on the amulet and go with potent instead, which will be insane. On the gloves here, redirected force, the most important aspect. This one is also bugged. It scales from block chance, which should translate to 100% block chance, which should be the cap, but it's not. This goes beyond 100% block chance. That's why the crit damage, I can reach over 8,000 crit damage, which is insane. So attack speed, GA, dexterity. I would like to get life instead of dex, but I'm not getting any drops. It's just impossible. I'm not getting any drops. No gamble, no tributes, no drops, nothing. So ideally, you want to get life here instead of dex. So if we drop dex here, we really need the dexterity on the amulet. So potent versus life. I don't know. I would go with life maybe because life is also a sustain, right? I mean, survivability, but as you could see, I didn't die. We could take everything at the 115 pit, no problem. Even Lilith Waves, it 3 stacks. Armored Hide active bonus. As you can see, the temper, we have it on all 3 items here. This translates to a lot of thorns, which is main damage or one of the main damages. Lucky hit vulnerable enemies, very important. So payback is pretty good. Lucky hit as a base compared to other skills. So the Paragon node giving us lucky hit is also good. On the pants here, interdiction, this gives us the block chance per resolve stack. So we have 12 stacks, that's over cap right away. I have 10% block chance aspect. I'm missing 5 block chance per resolve stack, which translates to a lot of damage because of this bad boy. And this one for me is 58%, so I'm missing 12%. Huge. All res, max life armor, that's what I recommend with. Resilient is the main temper we want to go for on the amulet and the pants. This is the max life when you cast Gorilla skill. On the boots duelist, ferocity, I have 4 out of 5. I'm still missing 1. So with this one, extra 1 stack would translate to more crit damage because of furnace passive. Armor, max life, movement speed, again, active thorns and movement speed temper. On the weapon here, Kapaleka, try to go for greater affix on max resource and chance for core skills to hit twice. This actually makes it so the payback does more damage, not really 2 hits, but it translates to more damage, similar to Quill Volley. This was fixed with recent patch. So recent patch actually fixed this aspect as well on the amulet, Bursting Vengeance. It did not really work before, as well as Revenge. It didn't scale all the thorns. Now it works, that's why I waited after the patch, and now we blast. Amulet, Dex, Max Life, Furnace, Resilient, Overpower. Midnight Sun, this is why we can keep up the vigor at 100%. Cooldown reduction, crit damage, and dexterity. Try to get like cooldown GA or dexterity. I would like to get dexterity though. And then we could definitely drop dexterity here. Starless Guy, so we are using 2 purples here. This is the other one. This gives us all resistance twice, which is very good for managing resistances and then armor as well. So cost reduction by up to 50% is translating to damage. So this ring gives us double damage. Both active damage and then resource cost. Insane. And core skills doesn't do anything for us because it doesn't scale with Gorilla Hole, but the attack speed, try to get it masterwork. Amazing stuff. Lucky hit, if you can get it GA, also very good. Lucky hit is also good. On my ring, I have double attack speed and 1 lucky hit masterwork. But yeah. Some notes here on the rune setup, we got Pok and Xana. Spending resources gives us guaranteed crit chance and overpower because usual or in general, the Thorns Gorilla main hold cannot crit or overpower, but because of this rune, this is a true critical. So it's good stuff. We get then second one is Tem and Kue. So every time, or like I think it's 12 casts of the core skill, like a payback, you will trigger barrier. With the high attack speed we have, we will trigger this non-stop. On the armor, you want to get barrier generation. This translates essentially to damage increase because of Viscous Shield Paragon board. Diamonds or skulls, up to you. Whatever you prefer. Strengths, weaknesses. Weaknesses, literally 0 because Spiritborn. AoE single target amazing, mobility, sustain, everything top notch. The gameplay loop, rotation, first Ravager to proc Potent and Furnace, Armored Hide to get full resolve stacks and active Thorns damage, Toxic Skin for the poison proc, Vortex mobile dropping, Hunter, use it on cooldown or depending on the situation on the content you're doing, and then Blasted Payback. That's literally it. Last thing, consumables, you want to use attack speed or max HP. I prefer attack speed, I think. I could probably drop the barrier here and go with max life rune, but I just like the barrier. Scales well with this build and a Viscous Shield. And then the incense, you want to get the Dex or Armors type 1, type 2 max HP, and type 3 Chorus of War. And ladies and gentlemen, that will be it. If I missed anything, let me know in the comment section. I'll have the stream up in the pinned comment as well. I stream every day, blast every day. So Mercenaries, once again, real quick, let me change that though, because I actually changed the right here for this one. Let me save this build. So for the mercs right here, we want to go with the shield charge to give us armor, because shield charge gives us 45. That's why we need right here active. In the group, this will not be active. You'll not be able to get 45. And Crater to pull mobs together and get the vulnerable. You can go for Provoke for damage reduction if you're struggling with survivability. And Variana, I go with Bloodthirst for the attack speed increase on the Armored Hide. It's very good. It's like Engager. So that will be it. Once again, everything will be pinned comment section. Let me know what you think. Enjoy the blast. Any questions? Hit me up on Discord or on stream once again. And enjoy the grind. Enjoy this build. So until next time, have a great one. Thank you very much for watching. And peace.